Well, with my first game ever and 2 others being brought to the Switch today, I figured let's take a look at a survive scenario that I don't think many expected, but I've been wanting to try for a bit now. Now you may be thinking, with how family friendly the franchise is, how could it possibly even be remotely difficult to survive in? Surely you could just literally jump around and go guns blazing for an easy time with the easy folk of the world. But let me remind you, each game has some kind of BS going on, and mechanics that can take some jet lag to get used to in this reality. I mean, take this into consideration. The athletic feats and vast amount of destructive capabilities each main character has at their disposal versus what we are capable of as regular human beings, and mix our type of reality with this realm of this ever-changing landscape, with untouchable paranormal entities, sentient ammunition, and a fire-breathing tyrant Blastoise, all requiring only the best parkouring and dexterity to maneuver and take some punishment in. There is more to this kingdom and its expansive history that can leave you with the game over screen before you can say, "Let's go!" This time around, we are discussing the straight out of Brooklyn, denim, the only kind of sports and racing games I'll ever enjoy. Cleaning up the environment is cool, and so is abusing turtles. How the hell isn't Waluigi in Smash, but a plant is? The winner of the Sega vs. Nintendo wars of the mid-early 90s, a kingdom that changes its appearance more often than Elton John and Freddie Mercury combined. Original characters are so 2000 and late. Just having the name of the franchise can sell millions of units, even if you say you won't buy it. A stereotype of Italians that everyone is okay with. My parents lied to me about sex. Babies do actually come from storks. Don't trust this doctor's orders. I guess the only way we are getting the 2020 Olympics in Japan are through a mass esports rally of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. It all started with a fat Italian plumber named Jumpman saving his girlfriend from a now elderly escaped ape, and this video will be a disjointed mess of continuity primarily focused on what could kill you in this universe, from its natural denizens, to its evil entities, to invaders from around the world and beyond the stars, in a continuity extremely disjointed in alternate realities and timelines. Maybe?
Go Goomba! Join the Goombas!
But bear with me as I discuss briefly the focal kingdom of the vast Mario media empire itself. This time around, we are telling you why you wouldn't survive Super Mario's Mushroom Kingdom. Before we start, everyone, I noticed 75% of you are not subbed to the channel, so go sub now, it's a pretty free! Now, to blend our reality with that of the Mario universe, instead of placing an entire scenario in the realm of reality, let's just say you accidentally were transported to the Mushroom Kingdom one day via pipe, wormhole, or even through a hellish acid trip. How would a normal human adapt to this new colorful world? How would you fare suddenly touching down in this universe? And yes, I can already hear you saying, well, Zakath, Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, Daisy, and Peach are all technically humans, and Mario's origins are directly linked to being an Italian-American plumber from Brooklyn. However, it's hard to determine if the anatomy and abilities of these human-like characters are anywhere near that of a regular human, especially after seeing what we perceive as normal human beings within New Donk City in Super Mario Odyssey, or the one-off city areas in the Mario Kart series. The main protagonist of the franchise, Mario himself, is a prime example of a differently developed and capable human considering his many powers and abilities. Mario is able to perform fantastic jumps and leaps in a variety of ways, as well as wield superhuman strength to be able to literally throw a gay giant turtle like it's a bag of potatoes. Any normal man could only dream of accomplishing this kind of strength on the fly, even after rigorous training and exercise. His taller brother Luigi is able to jump even higher and longer distances, while Wario had a more destructive and indomitable strength strength to lift and destroy with, while all of them had enough strength to break through sheer brick blocks on the fly. On top of these physical attributes, Mario and company have been shown to survive falling directly into lava and only cartoonishly bounce out of it in partial pain. The same with freezing cold water. They can also survive comfortably without the need for air or a breathing apparatus in the vacuum of space or in the depths of the ocean. But most notably and iconically for this universe is the plethora of power-ups available to give those that use them item-specific powers, like the super mushroom that will double the consumer's size, and sometimes allow them to take fatal injuries once before regressing the user back to their original size or heal the user from previous injuries. The superstar that when merely touched will make the user a seizure-inducing, pride-supporting, invincible beast for a brief period that can automatically vanquish any foe that they merely touch. Furry-friendly items like the tanuki suits or cat suits that give the user animal-like traits like a tail and ears in order to temporarily fly, or a full fursona in order to scratch and pounce at others' balgy-walgies. Oh god, I really don't like saying that. Or even the fire flower that allows the user to become a literal pyromancer and shoot balls of flame at others. Although the Mario Brothers have learned to cast these cinders on their own over time in certain scenarios. There are plenty more power-ups, but I'm not going to go over the dozens created in the last 35 years, and just simply say these power-ups could easily be used by the characters who have had time to master them to wipe you out. And there is no set guarantee that you can either use these power-ups if acquired, or that you will use them effectively without either killing yourself in the process. I mean, who's to say you wouldn't light yourself on fire after acquiring the fire flower, or using the leaf to acquire the flying cape in order to fly at high speeds. Sounds like a lot of fun, only to either fall to your death or crash into a hard surface at breakneck speed, breaking your neck in the process. I guess that's where the name comes from. Also, you aren't going to be able to pull out a gun and brrrap any enemies before you, as firearms do not exist in this universe. So for once, I won't be resorting to guns to whip out and easily dispatch antagonistic entities. Besides these human differences and power-ups, what is it up at the land itself and its denizens and history that would have Bowser's laugh echoing in your head as you fade into total darkness? The Mushroom Kingdom, ruled by the kind-hearted monarchy of Princess Peach, generally composed of a population of mushroom people called the Toads. The Mushroom Kingdom exists as a peaceful nation, housing a plethora of environments ranging from tropical beaches, grassy plains, dry deserts, vast seas, and even quite a few haunted houses. While toads don't pose much of a threat outside mildly jumping, wielding spears, and annoying you to death with their shrill voices, fight! Launch the cannons! They are not the only native inhabitants. Mostly, and technically hostile creatures roam the varied landscapes across the land. You as a human will probably be either simped into submission going on quests for the princess to constantly save her by either recovering 7 insert plot devices here, or hundreds of stars, sprites, or simply ending a galactic tyranny or stopping an alien invasion. The list of what can happen to you and the kingdom goes on. You are one of those people caught up in the conflict. Besides the peace-loving people led by the princess, another monarchy seeks to take control of the kingdom through kidnapping and, in a few cases, forced wedlock with Peach. Bowser, otherwise known as King Koopa, is a powerful and iconic variant of his drone-like species, able to breathe fire and use his massive frame to demolish his opposition with ease. He has, on many occasions, defeated Mario and company despite their superhuman capabilities by using supernatural forces, like wishing to become invincible via the Star Rod, using Peach as a hostage to lure them into traps, or even using his flying battleship armada to even take over entire galaxies, with his size and shape frequently changing to either be go-kart sized for mobile purposes or the size of a building or two in order to squash foes under his scaly feet. He also flies around in his flying clown car to attack others from the air and reach destinations at a faster rate to hunt you down and burn you alive, or toss bombs from above as well. Leading his armies into battle, he also has giant flying warships and armadas ready to rain destruction below, as well in some cases freeze targets in hardened crystal, maybe even suffocating you. Because remember, most of the Mario characters don't need oxygen, but you definitely do. Unless it's more of a Han Solo frozen in carbonite type situation. Bowser's army is extremely diverse in comparison to the multicolored toads that serve under Princess Peach, with the most common infantry being the Goomba. No, not that one. We don't speak of those. But these types of Goombas, outside of these two little things and their bulging giant heads, what could they possibly do? Well, march headfirst as veritable pawns to wither down the first line of defense any opposing force might have, or patrol the lands to either act as nuisances during times of Peach's reign and acting as enforcers, driving out the toads in Bowser's numerous attempts at full-scale invasions. Goombas can be adorned with wings to give them moderate levels of jumpy flight, or wear spiked helmets to headbutt with a bit more of a stabbing sensation. You're probably all like, I'll just jump on his head and flatten it out of existence. It's so easy in the games. Well, as I said earlier, that would require you being able to jump at least shoulder length to be able to stomp it. Plus, considering the fact that Goombas simply touching you could mean immediate death if you touch from the left or right. Other forms have been seen from time to time, like the Goofy Goomba King that can create Goombas out of thin air, or the more chestnutty Goolumba that must be flipped over on its belly in order to vanquish it. Another frequent soldier amongst Bowser's army is the Koopa Troopa, acting similar to the Goomba in its forward marching pace. However, this time around, armored with its natural shell. When jumped on, it will retract its body within its shell for a few moments, allowing its attacker to kick its hardened shell like a hockey puck, mowing down anything and killing them in its path, and bouncing off any surface, even being able to kill the person who kicked it. Much like the Goomba, they can possess wings to either allow them to make large leaps repeatedly or even fly at will. The skeletons of these Koopas can reanimate, possibly by magical purposes, to walk the fungal earth again as a dry bones that will throw parts of their body as singular bones to whomp you to death, and will disassemble into a pile of bones when physically assaulted, but put itself back together in seconds to continue its bony attack, only being able to be fully killed by fire or certain power-ups, meaning if you kill hordes of Koopas, they can come back from the dead to continue fighting and wearing you down. Hell, even Bowser has come back as a dry bones at some points. And here I was thinking this was a why you wouldn't survive without zombies. Oh well, speaking of the living dead, Booze can pop into existence as an untouchable spirit that will slowly float towards you in a physical form while you aren't looking until the soul meets body. It kills you on the spot, unless you happen to look in their direction, wherein they will cower and make themselves disappear. Which begs the question, in their cowardly see-through state, are they visible to Mario and company for gameplay purposes? Or does Mario and his friends have the ability to see dead people? Either way, Boos in most cases are invincible and must be evaded at all costs to survive, with other ghostly apparitions seen as, I guess, other former human entities that can bend reality to their will. These ghosts can shape the room you're in or the environment you're around to their own capabilities, even as baby ghosts. Oh my god, I didn't realize Mario was so dark that they have dead babies. Globby bog phantoms, or even the giant King Boo that can resurrect the corpse of the dead to parade around and fight in, that can drag your soul away and place it into a painting of eternal purgatory, staring at the empty room you would be placed in until your consciousness slips away from staring into nothingness for so long. Unless you have the proper Ghostbusters related vacuum cleaners to suck them all off. Get yours now for a monthly payment of only $29.99 plus tax. The bombs, literally walking bombs that when sighting an enemy within close range, will light their own fuse and rapidly pace towards you until they eventually explode, leaving nothing behind. Similarly, cannons that can shoot sentient ammunition called the bullet bills that can home in on you to kamikaze and explode in a violent mess. Shy Guys can show up slyfully and mischievously take any supplies that you have accrued. The main means of transportation in the Mushroom Kingdom is via warp pipes, and while traveling traveling through what I assume would be the country's sewer systems, you are risking not only infectious disease from fungus people excrement, but also being flung out and around pipeways at high speeds, possibly crashing your body at every corner. Sometimes man-eating piranha plants will reside in these pipeways to occasionally poke out and try to eat anything that comes by, like a Venus flytrap, with some even able to spit balls of fire from their mouths. With fanged mouths that big, they could easily take a bite out of you without any issue. Another famous variant of the piranha plant is Petey Piranha, a gigantic leviathan of a mobile piranha plant that will try to eat you alive or vomit sludge all over you to poison you to death. Other menacing enemies that can appear can be location specific. Besides the threats of having to swim across entire oceans and potentially drowning, open bodies of water can have cheeps, fish that can vary in size, that can kill upon touch, and grow enough to a size where they can swallow you whole, and even fling themselves from the water like cannonball projectiles. Or bloopers, white squids that can dart through water quickly and shoot ink to blind enemies, and in larger sizes, use their tentacles to wrap foes and strangle them to death. Deserts have quicksand that can instantly pull you in to bury you alive. Or even the sun itself will stalk you and dive bomb you periodically to incinerate you on the spot. Or dealing with roaming cactus entities known as pokies that can lose parts of their body and regenerate them infinitely so long as the head isn't destroyed. Wading through quicksand to rapidly approach you to stab you to death or fling parts of its body at high speeds to do so from afar. Other locales include tall mushroom gorges leading into the clouds, lush forests and jungles with tons of dangerous animals and enemies, and the aforementioned haunted houses. With Bowser establishing his rule, more often than not, his minions can erect stone castle strongholds to tighten his control and defenses against opposition with swinging chains, rotating fire bars, and lava pits at every corner. Spiked thwomps will be overhead ready to plummet as you come underneath them to splatter you into a bloody pulp. Magic Koopas will also teleport around, shooting their PlayStation theme attacks at you to either transform the environment around you into further enemies, or knock out the ground from beneath your feet so you plummet to your death, or just simply blast you into smithereens with said magical attacks. Many of Bowser's top minions and even the Koopa Kids will head these establishments, all with unique fighting styles and magical prowess. While the Koopa Kids are similar in nature to their murderous capabilities, with only slight variations in how you defeat them, the only actual child of Bowser, Bowser Jr., yeah, very creative, has more to his own capabilities. Besides the numerous weapons available in his clown car as seen in Smash Bros., Bowser Jr. is able to don a COVID-like mask to transform him into a shadow form of Mario, wielding a large brush that can dish out slime-like paint, that can swallow living things and entire buildings in its mass like a black hole. Which brings me to my next point. Bowser and his diverse army has a vast array of means to destroy you as you panic to try and jump higher than you possibly can as you risk tooth and nail wielding powers you are just now trying to learn against enemies that can probably kill you simply by touching you or overwhelming you with sheer numbers. However, there have been a plethora of other hostile forces that have attempted to, and sometimes successfully, either take control of the Mushroom Kingdom or wipe out its population, such as an evil witch named Cackletta from the Bean Bean Kingdom and her servant Fawful, invading in order to use Peach's voice to take control of the power of the Beanstar, a fantastical deity that can grant the wishes of any user, warping reality and the wishing party's strength and capabilities. Cackletta had the magical abilities to clone herself, cause destructive magic, and so much more. And even when she was outright killed by the Mario Brothers, she could still wander around our plane as a vengeful spirit that will possess any unconscious or possibly even dead body she comes across, as she did with Bowser to amplify both of their abilities to a hellish degree, only being able to be defeated by internal combat with her actual soul. Alien invasions are also a probable occurrence if you find yourself in this kingdom. A surprisingly terrifying alien race known as the Shroobs will have fled their dying home planet in order to wipe out, enslave, and harvest all life on this mushroom-related world. Using advanced technology like space-traveling UFOs, mind control and time-traveling devices, energy weapons like the ray guns to incapacitate prey, and modification rays that when hitting their target will gradually suck out the vim or life force of a toad or a human being. And as the life drains from your body in these shroob-established trees, you will slowly wilt into mere purple mushrooms on the ground, losing all sentience and just becoming a fungal life form, just sitting there as what soul or vim you have is siphoned away to power this alien race as they dominate the planet of the future and past, infecting and creating new life forms out of the ones they kidnap, making shroob bombs for bigger explosions and shroob chomps, as I forgot to mention earlier, as the chain chomp, who will basically act as any guard dog and maul you to death with its big-ass mouth and devour you alive. A grim outlook of everyone around you fading into nothing or being evaporated by ray guns as the kingdom becomes engulfed in flames, leaving our environment probably much like their homeworld, uninhabitable for this new kingdom that you just arrived in to die out in a very depressing way. But besides invasions from spin-offs where your fighting capabilities would be put to the ultimate test, the environments themselves are death traps for any normal pedestrian like you and I. Tons of pitfalls, pits of lava, pits of poisonous swamp water, bottomless pits of no return. There are more pits than a field of peaches. And no, I'm not talking about the princess. Climbing tall surfaces, facing gusty winds, having to break through hard surfaces with your own fists, while jumping to your best abilities while lava slowly approaches you, sometimes even having invisible blocks stop your propelled jump to either break your neck or force you to fall down a pit once again. Any one of us will be screwed unless you are Kyle Crane levels of parkour godliness. You probably will arrive in the Mushroom Kingdom with no extra lives, as any regular human does not have the opportunity to come back to life after failing at their last attempt, unless you believe in reincarnation. You can find one-up mushrooms if you are lucky enough, but that would require the many athletic and competitive perils to even get to them in the first place. You will have to pretty much rely on any power-ups you can find and master them on the fly without getting yourself killed by those very abilities, with some mushrooms even poisoned to instantly kill you on consumption, or even blorb mushrooms that can turn your body into a bloated, deviant art-like balloon, allowing you to only roll around and either pop or wait for a cure that will never come. Bowser's consistent attempts to overthrow the Mushroom Kingdom would more than likely have you caught in the crossfire of his and many other factions' litany of enemies that can kill you in just about any way you can think of. But most terrifyingly, just barely touching you if you don't have the proper power-ups or sufficient health can game over you while you fight for survival against these childish-looking shroom people and turtles or horrific man-eating plants and ghosts. Mario and company, in their mad rush to get to the end goal, may accidentally stomp you without a second thought. However, if you piss off the protagonist cast of characters and their 100% success rate of defeating anyone they go against, whether you're burned alive or stomped flat by Mario, being barely tapped by Luigi's kick to be absolutely destroyed out of existence, or ripped apart by Donkey Kong and his ape strength, or swallowed whole and turned into a projectile egg by any of the Yoshi tribe. But those last two characters, again, we will possibly save for another time, doing a Why You Wouldn't Survive Donkey Kong Country or Yoshi's Island. Well, that was a shiitake look at you surviving this video game franchise's universe aimed at a family-friendly demographic. Hopefully you didn't take it too seriously and indulge in the nostalgic and for fun video this was today, with it being kind of all over the place with how diverse the history, land, enemies, and more behind the Mario franchise is. Because honestly, I feel like this video was really all over the place, but I really wanted to get it out today because of what came out, and I just really like Mario. And I can only cover post-apocalyptic and horror so much before I want to blow my brains out. I mean, get back to the basics and calm, relaxing games. Because this is a game rated E for everyone. Like your mum. We didn't cover other properties and scenarios of this connected universe like Donkey Kong Country or Yoshi and their vast islands. But hey, if this video performs well enough, maybe we can cover those franchises at a very much later date. So, like I always say, like, comment, and subscribe. Which again, 75% of you watching are not subbed. So I'm gonna guilt trip you into subbing because that's the new norm for YouTube. But I will not guilt trip you into donating like these fine supporters here in a number of different ways that I am eternally grateful for. This will be the last video before I finally do the SCP Keter Class Part 2 video. Sorry, I have ADHD and wanted to dip my toes in other video ideas beforehand, but expect another long ass video of the SCPs soon. If you want to check out the last time I did a Why You Wouldn't Survive on a Nintendo property, check out the one I did covering if a Pokemon War happened, or why not check out this 100% playthrough I did of Mario 64 a few years ago on my other channel, WSG Streams. Thanks to Wisefish for editing my video today again, and thanks to you for watching. Thank you so much for watching my video. Stay well!